good morning or good afternoon, however you look at it. But, appreciate you guys coming in and joining. I don't take that for granted. That's one of those things without you guys being here. I want to thank you guys for coming on because it means you guys are willing to cover Memphis football, and we're grateful for that. And I need to be reminded myself of how fortunate I am to be in the position I am and appreciative of you guys for covering our team. So thank you guys. Let me start by saying that. We're 11 days out from kickoff, a lot of excitement, a lot of energy from our young men. As we continue along the path of trying to get better, we are looking more at focusing on ourselves this week than we are our opponent. We have a wonderful opponent in Arkansas State coming to Liberty Bowl. We know they're very talented, well-coached team, but we need to continue to focus on ourselves and our fundamentals, and that's kind of been the direction we're heading, the way our practices have been formatted, and they will continue so this week. Again, all full respect for Arkansas State, but we've got a lot of work to do on our own and look in the mirror and make sure we're continuing along the right way. We were able to watch the scrimmage and make a lot of improvements from there, but we got to put the pedal to the metal and get going.
Okay, first question from Terry Davis.
Hey, Coach, with the NCAA changing the eligibility, how would that affect the way you treat your freshmen and players without the redshirt year in play?
Yeah, Terry, I think with that being open now, I don't think you have hesitation to play a freshman. And, where I think you'll see that is in special teams. Obviously, I think the conference is going to put limitations on travel, which, our conference has never had limitations on travel, but we were going to make some amendments anyways, moving forward with that because of COVID and everything. But I think you're going to see more freshmen throughout the conference, throughout the country playing on special teams. It will also allow us, if we feel like a guy's ready and we want to not try to be hesitant and just play them 3 or 4 games, that we can, open it up and allow them to get reps throughout the game. I think it's a great idea. I actually do support the NCAA on that, and I believe in it. And, we haven't really had those conversations with those guys. We're going to let the season play out where it is and, see where the chips may lie when it's all said and done as far as eligibility and where they sit, for the next year's class.
Evan Barnes.
Ryan, today Kenny was named to the second team preseason AP All-American. I know preseason awards and things like that are just, preseason things, but just what does it say for just kind of how people are starting to take notice of just what he can bring and just the reward he had for, a great season last year?
Yeah, Kenny just certainly deserves every preseason recognition he can get, but you're exactly right. They are preseason awards for just that. I challenge Kenny every day. Anybody who knows Kenny Gainwell knows he's going to work his tail off regardless of preseason accolades, what he did in the past and what he's going to be able to do in the future. And so Kenny's a young man who has that mindset, and I'm sure he's grateful and appreciative of all those preseason recognition, but he knows he's got to work harder than ever to duplicate and have a better season this year than he did last. Right? It won't be good enough if he doesn't improve upon what he did. Obviously, he's a special talent, a special young man, but certainly deserves all the recognition that comes his way. We just hope that we can continue along that path. And that recognition can't be preseason, but it can be postseason as well.
Okay, Jeff Brightwell.
Coach, a couple of weeks ago when fall camp started, it was, keep blinders on, take it one day at a time in hopes there was going to be a season. Now, in the last few days, you've seen the school put out the ticketing guidelines, the protocols for game day. We're making plans for radio and TV shows. It's 11 days out. Do you get a sense now, 11 days out between the players, yourself, the staff, that it's not hope anymore, that this it's coming, it's happening, we're playing football next week?
Yeah, Jeff, we continue to talk about them being focused, but you're right, those blinders now, there's still a lot of outside noise, but we are able to really just kind of focus on football more so now than ever. And I don't think I'm having to answer those questions as often with our young men. Hey, coach, are we going to play? What's happening with this? I think as all the conferences have decided whether they're playing or not, it's made our job easier over the last few days just to really say, okay, hey, we know we're playing. I don't think our guys for ever a minute doubted that we were, probably in the back of their mind, but I don't think it ever deteriorated from what we were trying to get done on the practice field and the meeting rooms. So I give credit to our young men for being pretty steadfast in their approach. But with it, as we're getting closer, yeah, I think, it looks like, smells like, and tastes like football's coming here in 11 days. So I'll be all smiles, and our guys certainly are taking the right approach.
Okay, Mark Giannotto.
Hey, Ryan. Along those lines, have you started prepping for Arkansas State, like in full? Like, have you moved on from, working on you to now working on some things they do?
Yeah, Mark, like I just mentioned prior to you getting on, was that we were really focusing on ourselves as much as we can this week. Again, Arkansas State's a fantastic opponent. It's well coached, but we need to just continue to hone in on what we got to get done. I think with a short training camp and no spring ball, we've got to really get back to our fundamentals. And we can't go out and beat ourselves versus Arkansas State. They're going to be well coached. They're going to fly around. They're going to be hyped up and ready to roll. And they're a good football team. I have looked at film. Our coaching staff has looked at film, but it's not like we've implored our guys to really start studying them now. We need to sooner than later because they certainly are a great opponent, and they'll give us everything that we want and more. So we're going to start to implement some of that stuff moving forward later in the week. But again, it's always going to be about focusing on ourselves more so now than ever.
And then just to follow up, offensively this year, obviously with Mike gone, but you're still here, Kevin's still here. What do you think are going to be the touches you guys put on this offense? I imagine it's not going to – the foundations aren't going to change, but what will be your touch, Kevin's touch on this offense this season?
Well, obviously full credit to Mike Norvell for being a wonderful coach and a great play caller. But Kevin Johns is very bright in his own right and has a lot of wonderful ideas. And obviously the rest of our offensive staff that's been credited. I mean, they are credited, a lot of those coaches that were here with Coach Norvell that helped lead to that success. And, we're going to continue to pour into it. I don't know if you're going to sit here and say, well, that's one thing or the other. We've got some unique ideas. We've got some different plays we're going to do. We're going to implement new things into our offense that will look different. And that's going to be year to year based off of our personnel as well. And that's our job. That's my job as a head coach, is to make sure we're not staying stale and just saying, well, this is what we've done in the last 4 years. So there will be quite a few things that you guys are going to say, wow, that is quite different. It looks a little bit different wrinkles. But, hopefully we look forward to showing that on the 5th.
Okay, Devin Walker.
Coach, as you look ahead, how you doing, man?
Good, buddy. You?
As you get ready for next week, what do you think are the biggest improvements you need to make before you run out for your first game?
I just think the details are our game, Devin. We talk about situational football quite often, and I think that's one of those things, right? I mean, I don't think you can get enough 2-minute situations, right? 4-minute situations, backed up, overtime. Just continue to get those things that we feel like we, via Zoom meetings, they're great to talk about, but man, you just those live reps, if you feel like you got one and then you feel like you got two, maybe that's not enough. So situational football is one of those things we got to continue to work on. I think our base offense and our base defense is pretty set in stone with what we're doing moving forward. But I just think we got to continue to implement situations throughout the practice scheme and make sure we're on page. I think the special teams is coming along quite nicely. But like I said, just situational football.
Okay, Terry Davis.
Hey, Coach, how's the health of the team? Is anybody out of practice? Anybody returning back to practice? Overall, it's the same as last week.
Yeah, Terry, it's the health is pretty darn well. We're very fortunate. The guys are doing a good job taking care of their bodies. And we had that scrimmage, and we had a few guys with some bumps and bruises, but nothing major. John Tate continues to be our only guy that's out with a season-ending injury. But even him, he's done a wonderful job of his rehabilitation and staying locked into the new defensive scheme. So I give him a lot of credit as well. But, I feel like we're exactly where we need to be from a health standpoint. The guys that we constantly talk about, not only health on the football field, but obviously health in the COVID world, right? Making sure they're being smart outside of our realm. We preach it every single day. In fact, today I popped my head in every meeting room with my mask on and just kind of shared some news with them on certain things and just reminded them, even pre-practice, about being smart with what we do in the locker room, when we leave here. And I think the guys are taking to heart. We just got to keep it going.
Okay, Evan Barnes.
Two things. Going back to Kenny, you mentioned you challenged him. Do you get the sense that even, we saw last year he was just hungry just to keep improving? Like, do you see a difference in him as far as being the team leader and just helping that running backs group? And two, we talked to Taj last week about the young receivers. Do you see those young receivers starting to step up, knowing they have to take a bigger role with, Antonio, Kadarian, those guys graduated?
Yeah, absolutely. You're exactly right about Kenny. He's one of those young men. As we know, he doesn't talk a lot and he doesn't run his mouth a lot. He just kind of lets his actions speak. But when we ask him to step up in a leadership role, he certainly does. Today, in fact, I got on him and said, hey, let's get these guys going. and he immediately jumped in because he has the respect of the full team because everybody knows he just shows up and works, and his actions speak a lot louder than his words. And he's going to remain hungry, and that's the type of young man he is. He's, you know, a humble guy who's super intelligent and does it the right way at all times. So I think the players respect that, and you know, a lot of times just his actions will show it, and the guys want to follow. And certainly has been seen in the running back room. And you're right, Taj is one of those young men at the receiver corps that's stepped up and done nicely. And he's challenged those guys, right? We got a lot of those young receivers that know that they're probably going to have to play some type of role. And I think that's important. You know, Javon Ivory's going to have to step up, but we're going to implement quite a few receivers. I think that's part of it, you know, with us being this early in the season and see, you know, if we can get our legs back underneath ourselves and get ready for an actual season game.
Does it help too that Taj and Javon both played last year, got some game experience, so that they're not kind of like, you know, deer in headlights, you know, attitude?
No question. I think that's a huge importance, Evan, that they've been able to get in a game, obviously limited reps, but, you know, every single day. I mean, I was out there challenging the day, getting in their tail about certain things, and they know it, and they know they appreciate it. If we strain them on, you know, these practices, that on game day, nothing will be a surprise to them.